This week in Gran Turismo, a legendary track with legendary crashes in Daily Race A. Daily Race B, I absolutely send it down the inside. And Daily Race C, I always take everyone. Well, what car am I in? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2024, week 34, and we have a familiar combo and an unusual combo at the same time. First up, the familiar one, you can see it in the background, Special Stage Route X makes a return with those hand-picked cars. There's one lap here, it's a rolling start on Sports Soft tyres. Do make sure nitrous is mapped though on your controller, whichever wheel or pad you use, because you are going to need it in the race. You can't use it in the practice, so just keep that in mind. Now, some of you won't like this race. I like it. It's a bit of fun just for a one-lapper. And, you know, you can have some fun. There will be big crashes here, of course. But some timestamps there for you to jump to Daily Race B or Race C if you want to look at those instead. However, I do all the races. Now, in terms of Race A, this track has been used 4 times. The track and car combo has been used 4 times. It's around the 27th used combo rank, so it's not the most popular thing in the world. But that is joint rank, so if it gets used again, it'll jump way up there. Track was last used on the 8th of April. You do have to be careful the banking for MR cars, and big crashes are definitely a thing in this race. You're going to have to be careful. Let's jump into this one then. Let's see how big the crashes get as we do one of the first races of the day. Here we are then at the start. So we've got Wirers in here. They were top of the leaderboards, in fact, but I remembered how bad MR cars can be here, so I went with the Mercedes AMG as we kick off this race. Now, the Mazda, well, that gets a really quick start there in the red one. There's 2 in this one. But Chelsea goes flying by, not even using nitrous there. Here comes the Wire at TCR Sonic. Hodson following suit, also in the Wire. But I wasn't worrying at this moment in time. So we'll just fast forward a little bit here. You can see the finish driver just come out of the line of cars here. So we stay in the slipstream. You want to bump draft here all the way up to the first turn. If you do lose the slipstream here, unfortunately, your race is pretty much over unless you can get back in it somehow, maybe overusing nitrous potentially here. But as you can see, just fast forward a bit more here. Somebody else there losing out in the slipstream where you keep fast forwarding towards the first turn. And as we approach the rear of this pack here, I start to edge out towards the left-hand side. I'm just preparing myself here for the first corner because this is where the big crashes are going to happen. Now, look at that radar. Everybody is absolutely everywhere. Arrows clashing there, little movements causing big actions there as we go onto the banking here on the right-hander. And there's a huge crash, and I have no idea how I survived that one. So somebody on the inside went spearing off into the outside, and I somehow survived. If you are on the outside, it is a dangerous place to be, as you saw, but the ghosting worked for us, and we survived. Now, being high on the banking does mean you can carry a little bit more speed here. I'm trying to stay in Mickey D. White's slipstream here, but it's not working that well. As we come back down here, nobody on the inside. I nearly understeer into Mickey, but fortunately there, I lift off a little bit. They noticed as well, and we pull into line behind the German in that Pagani Wire. We advance further down the straight, then heading towards the last corner. All we've done is slipstream, bump draft all the way down here. And this is where we want to start preparing our strategy. So I wanted to go out there just before the bump draft. I failed it a little bit. Start using nitrous just to build up my speed a little bit here. Now, I would advise using nitrous at that point now on the gantry, okay? The gantry as you go into the last corner. You can see here, that's what a few other people have done. I then realised to start hitting the nitrous button as well myself. You see max power there. 5 seconds of penalties. That's from that crash earlier on. We'll have a look at that in the bloopers, of course. But we have dropped the cars behind here, so it is a run to the line here. Max power with 5 seconds of penalties, so we should get past max power here. Some little knocks there going on between the Brit and the finish driver. But we head towards the line there, getting P3 in the end. Not too shabby at all. Max power couldn't even take all of the penalty. And I've given this race a 2.5 out of 5. Start type's always good here. The 0.5 for the car choice, we've used it many times. Good racing and strategy, 0.5. And the race length, a 0.5 as well. There's not that much randomness that goes on. So overall, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but even so, it is what it is. We jump straight into Daily Race B then, because there's no need for a guide for Daily Race A. If you need a guide, then yeah, you probably need to do the licenses first. And in Daily Race B, we're doing 5 laps here at Catalunya without the chicane. So the best layout of them all. The rolling start, racing medium tyres, and we are in Group 3. And Boppy's on, of course, with the brake balance being adjustable. So I chose the Lamborghini Huracan because it's a very good car at the moment. In terms of the key stats for this track, used 6 times. Track and car combo is 5 times we've used it. Group 3 here with the no chicane. 7th overall-ish on the used combo rank there, joint, and last used on the 1st of April, April Fool's Day. Now, it is dive central here. This is the main way to overtake, and some dives are allowed, by the way. Oversteer is common as well because the MR cars are the dominant cars here. Let's jump into this race then. Let's have a look exactly what happens, and I'll show you a few dives myself as I try and go up the grid. Here we are then at the start. It's got a Huracan in pole. It's Johnny asks when I race. So I do race C, B, and A in that order in the morning if you do want to join me. And if you want to like the video, please do so and subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 70,000 subscribers now. I appreciate all the support. The channel's just taken off lately, and we're getting very close to that 100k. Huge special, and I know we're going to do all the specials as well, so do keep an eye out for those. They're just going to be a bit more delayed than I expected because I didn't expect this insane growth. Here we go, let's jump into this race then. So turn one, nothing really happens. Everybody gets really close to the slipstream. I'm going to try and go down the inside there. Not going to quite work. The gap wasn't just there. That gives Robomags behind me an opportunity to go for the overtake. I think Robomags is still using PSVR2. I could be wrong with that. They're going to go down the inside in that Ferrari then, and we are side by side as they are up ahead. Do expect this in the races as somebody goes towards the right hand side there. That was P13 Black. That's unfortunate as we go into the left-hander. We saw it down. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there from Lemony Send It as we continue on out then. Still side by side with Robomags. Really good racing so far. Clean racing as well as we head towards the next score then. Still on the inside here, but Robomags round the outside. Going to make this work then. Have to lift there. Give some room for Robomags, and that is a brilliant move. Well worked out. Good racing. I love that. And I love Catalunya, to be honest with you. It's one of my favourite circuits in Gran Turismo 7. And overall, actually, when I race it on any game, man, it's just one of those that I do enjoy. Now we're going to head down towards where you can dive here. So I send it down the inside here, looking to get it stopped. Yes, we do. We stop it on the apex there beautifully. And Robomags saw me as well. So good awareness there. And we gained a couple of positions. In towards turn one, lap number 2 then. In we go to here. So behind Shadow in that Alpha 4C. Shadow always uses that Alpha 4C as we go into the left-hander. Now they understeered a bit there, so I'm looking to get on the right side there. Oh, they get a track limit penalty as well. We just get on the inside, this time making it work. There's a Lamborghini-sized space there as we continue on out. We're going to leave a bit of room on the left-hand side, though, for that Alfa Romeo 4C as we go into this braking zone. And here, I want to get on the throttle really early to really try and keep this position. There we go, job done, and we're way past that Alfa Romeo. Lap number 3 then. We're looking to catch up to Shelty in that Volkswagen Beetle. We've got a penalty up ahead for Nils. A 1 second penalty actually in that GTR as we go into the right-hander then, slowing the car down very close to Shelty now in the TCR liveried Beetle. And if you may have noticed in the webcam, there's a TCR looking jersey in there, isn't it? And it looks a bit different to last time. So do keep an eye out for a notice on that one, or news on that, should I say. We're down the inside of Nils, who just went a bit deep there into the right-hander. I think Shelty scared him a little bit as we continue on. So we're going to try and get past Shelty now. Up ahead, there's some fighting going on. The 3 wide on the exit there. Hodgson, unfortunately, is pushed out off the circuit. But look at what happened exactly in the bloopers. So we're going to go past up another position here. We're making some moves here. Lap number 3. We're starting towards the back of the field here. Up ahead. Please don't crash me. It's going for a crash there. So we overtake the AMG there. Up into P7. Into the right-hander. We go get good momentum through here. Potentially, we could go for a dive again. Remember, you can dive in racing. It's as long as it's a clean dive. What do I mean by that? You make the apex. You know, if you send it down there, you make the apex, so you leave room on the exit. That's absolutely fine. It's a racing maneuver. Shelty was way too good on the brakes. However, on the acceleration, MR cars dominate, and we go on through there. We got the grip on the exit. We went for it, and we're up into the infamous P6M. Up ahead, we've got 2 more Lamborghinis. Is that 3 more Lamborghinis, actually? We've got Max Power, Bruno, and Lemony Send It up ahead. They've both gone off the circuit, though. That does mean dirt on their tyres as we go into the right hand. Lemony sends it down the inside. Gets it a bit wrong there. Does back out of it there. And gets a penalty for the track limits as well. So we go on the inside here. Getting P5. Bruno on our left-hand side here. Doesn't quite see me there, I think. Just nearly pushes me off the circuit. Wasn't too happy with that, but again, it was just a mistake there. I don't think they realised I was there as we continue on out. You get my raw reactions at the time, and I'll tell you what I was thinking at the time. Here we have Lemony Send It, who was looking on the inside, just backs out of that one then, and we remain behind Bruno as we go up to this fast right-hand. I will tell you how to do this, of course, in the track guide coming up. You will have seen the timestamps earlier on, and the timestamps are coming. I had a little bit of a wiggle there through the corner. You can get track limits on the exit on that curb. Fortunately, I didn't get it this time. But as we head down here then, Bruno goes on the brakes, and I send it down the inside. Do we get it stopped? We do indeed. What a move that is. That is a send and a half. That is a clean dive. You are allowed to do those. Please don't say it's a bad move. It's not. That's racing. There's a gap there. I went for it. I stopped the car perfectly in time. That's how it works. We've jumped to lap number 5 if you haven't already noticed here. And this track, look at it. It's so much better without the chicane. That chicane, I hate it. It just messes up the flow of this track. Without the chicane now, you get the fast flowing end to the circuit. Formula 1's gone back to this layout as well. It's just a better layout in my opinion. We are going to cross the line there, finishing in P4. Not a bad result there. 5 laps, a very quick sprint, and we managed to come home in P4. In terms of the scores then, I've given it a 4 out of 5. Start type is good. Car and tyre choice is good. You can have some good racing here. There are no penalty issues that I could see. And in terms of race length, it's not the best, which is why it loses the point there. Brake balance down the right-hand side there. 0 in qualifying. I did +2 in the race for those wondering. And as we head down towards turn 1, on the right-hand side, we've got that building there, okay? It's always my brake marker for turn 1. It's a really obvious marker. I'm using the most pointy part of the building as my brake marker, and I'm going to go hard on the brakes all the way down. Now, when you get to the bottom end of the gears, third and second gear, stay in third gear for a bit longer and then drop to second, because if you do it too soon, the car will start to oversteer. Just lift off slightly through the left-hander. As we go to this right, this is where you're going to lift off. Just let the car roll a little bit. See, I'm trying to get on the throttle very early here, but in reality, I'm waiting for the orange painted barrier up in the center there. That is my acceleration marker. As I get to the center of my screen, I start to accelerate. You should make it around the corner without going off the circuit. If you do struggle, just wait for it to go a bit further on your screen, but that is your marker to accelerate. As you see here, I'm flat out now as we continue on. Don't go on the light green stuff. It is very slippy and it will pull you off the circuit. As we get towards the end of Sector 1 here for the right-hander, on the left-hand side, you've got the 50 board and the start of the gantry. Either of those, as they hit the left-hand side of your screen, are your brake markers. And you actually want to start to point the car towards the curb, okay? Because you'll want to edge out a little bit and come back. If you can keep it nice and tight, that's better because it tightens and then opens up. And I'm using that orange paint barrier on the left-hand side as my acceleration marker. Not right now, but as it leaves the screen, I can just see it in the corner of my vision. I then start to accelerate, and that's when the corner starts to open up a little bit as well, so you're not going to understeer off the circuit. It starts tight and opens up, and you can see that right there. Look at that. Opens up very nicely indeed. Over towards the right-hand side then, and we're going to be looking on the right-hand side for that building on over there. Okay, so I think someone said these are toilets, but essentially, that's your brake marker. As that building hits the edge of your screen, hard on the brakes for this left-hander. Now, I'll talk about choice of gears in a second. You see on chase cam, it's just before it hits the edge of your screen. As we go into here, you can do second gear for stability, or you can drop to first as I do here, and then short shift to second. It just gives you a tiny bit more rotation, but you may suffer some oversteer depending on how much you're turning, so just be careful of that. This fast left-hander, don't go too far to the right-hand side because you'll clip the grass and go for a spin. Remember, Jomas did that quite a while ago. Sorry, Jomas, I remind them every single time. Now, as we go into here, the start of the curve there is your brake marker. You want to brake in a straight line for this one and then turn in. If you try and brake and turn at the same time, you'll suffer. As you see, I trail brake, I turn in then, I let it go and then continue on. Just be careful of exit. You have to remain on the red and white curbing, otherwise you will get a penalty. End of the curb on the left-hand side then is your turn-in marker. You may want to dab the brakes, depending on your car. I think I do dab the brakes in this one because I am carrying a lot of speed. But you want the car to roll through this corner, and we do have a marker on the inside that we can use as an acceleration marker as well. So I dab the brakes there, let the car turn in. Now, I really want to clip the curb here. That sausage there, it's like a mini sausage, shall we call it? That is your acceleration marker. Now, you notice I'm not accelerating at the moment. Essentially, I wait for that to go, and then I accelerate. Now, you can try and accelerate at it. As long as you click the curb, you should be able to make it. But I wait till it disappears, and then I go, and you can see there, I've easily made the corner. Accelerate down to here then, and we're looking for something on the left-hand side. Now, I used to use the flag marker, as I've talked about before, but now, what I want you to use is the Portaloo on the left-hand side. It's a better marker, in my opinion, here. So I use that Portaloo there, the toilet. Using toilets everywhere at Catalunya, apparently. Very much more obvious on chase cam. But as you go into here, that is your brake marker. Brake in a straight line, and then start to trail brake towards the apex if you can. I drop to first gear, I accelerate out the corner. You may want to short shift to second like I do there to avoid wheel spin. Over towards the left-hand side. Now, I don't use this marker. I just brake in a straight line once I've gone over the curb. But there is a marker there, the orange painted barrier on the left-hand side that you can use for this one, okay? So, breaking a straight line towards the curb. You are going to edge out a little bit, but then it will come back. It's a long right-hander, so it's one of those that can happen. Notice I'll start to edge out a little bit and trying to bring it back. Your acceleration markers, the sausage, as I've talked about earlier, anywhere on this circuit where that exists, that is a good acceleration marker you should use. You've also got the orange painted barrier as it just gets to the center of your screen there, and it's just gone past on mine. That's when you want to start accelerating. You can't see the exit of the corner, but just know that you will make it if you do that. We head towards this fast right now. I'm still struggling for markers here, so there is a tire mark that goes into the red and white curbing that you potentially use here. You lift off and turn in, or you can use the edge of the grandstand on the left-hand side as well, that I've pointed out there. It's still a hard marker to use, in my opinion, and it's very difficult to get this right, but you can cut a lot of the inside, and it will benefit you a lot. Now, I can cut a lot more than I did there, and it did cost me some time in this final sector. For the final corner then, the pit sign on the right side is your brake mark. You see, I've just gone on the brakes right now. This is a quick dab of the brakes to turn in, and I let the car roll a little bit. And I'm aiming for 100 miles an hour, essentially, in the middle of the corner. If I could do that, I've nailed the corner. Normally, I go below it. Am I going to go below it this time? I am indeed, 96 miles an hour. The pit entry wall there is an acceleration marker as it hits the edge of your screen. You can use that. 139.6. Do expect 138 here from some people. It will get very quick very quickly, just because it's a very common combo. We jump to Daily Race C, where we're in Group 4 at Watkins Glen, but it's not the long circuit. We're doing the short circuit. It does mean we're doing 15 laps here. It's a rolling start on racing hard tyres. You do have to pit at least once. Tyres 1 fuel times 2 tyre wear, and you can change the brake balance. Now I'm in the Bugatti Veyron. I think this is the meta car of choice for the race. Not necessarily qualifying, but for the race, and I'll show you why shortly. In terms of the key stats here, we've used this track 7 times. This combo only been used once. Used combo rank is down in 73rd, so not that much, to be honest with you. 13th of May was the last time we used it in terms of the circuit. Chicane, you can still bounce you off. You got to be careful, and the penalty line is brutal here because it's on a straight. Let's jump into this one then. Let's have a look exactly what happens, because there are some crashes in this one as well. Here we are then at the start. We've got Ferrari in pole. Obviously, this is the first race of the day. Nobody really knew what the meta car was going to be or what to use, etc. I chose the Veyron, of course, as I say, because of the crazy speed it does. Now, you need to be speedy. Always hit that like button and subscribe button. Please do it now as we venture towards 70,000. Now, let me descend it. It's just gone towards the right-hand side here. I wasn't sure whether they would let me go or not, but they go into turn 1 defending this then. And as we go through here, I'm going to try and get the speed on the exit, because this Veyron sticks to the track like glue. It really does. So I don't have to worry about power oversteer in this one, with it being all-wheel drive. And look at that. Clean on through on a Lamborghini. Now, this Veyron, this is why I chose this. It is so fast in a straight line, and it's going to be the main way to overtake cars here, because otherwise cars are going to be following your leader a lot. It's very hard to overtake into the chicane, but if you get the run, you got the run. Now we're going to here in P13. Let's see what happens at the exit of this corner. So as we go into here, someone's just split up there. Max Power just went into the back of Jammy. So that's 2 positions already. We've got a few people going in their pits here then. And Jammy then on the left-hand side, as is Christian. So we went in P13. We come out in P7. Yeah, we gained 6 places when all said and done there. That's not too bad when you look at that one at the end of lap 1. Up ahead, someone's just gone off the circuit. Miles off the circuit. They'll have track limits surely here then, as we continue on out of turn 1 and up into P7. We're going to be P6 here. Please don't crash me just on the middle of the circuit going towards the right. It'd be better if you stay offline in that situation. Just be consistent, offline, not going across the circuit, just in case the ghosting fails. So we continue on through here, and we just go off the circuit. If you look at my face, I can tell it's probably going to be a penalty. And is it? Yes, it is. There it is. And you can see, I agree with that. I was off the circuit. I was two wheels, or all 4 wheels off the circuit. So that makes perfect sense. Now, all 3 of us here had penalties. Shadow and Sonic as well, as we go into left-handers. We've got Aston Martin of Shadow. Sorry, not Shelty. Sonic is in, what? Is that the Megane? It is the, no, sorry, not the Megane. It's the Mazda 3 there, as we go into the right-hander. Sonic going in the pits then. So we go up to P5. Remember, you do have to pit once. You do not have to change tyres. Although if you're in an FF car, you probably are going to change tyres. So just keep that in mind here as we head towards turn 1. We're going to see the power of this Veyron now, surely, as we go through this right-hander. Look at that, very quickly catching up to the Aston Martin here. And watch the acceleration here in this Veyron. It just pulls for days. It really does. Look at this. We are catching so fast. So I sort of edge towards the right-hand side here, but I just understeer. And then I lift off there because I'm going into the barrier and possibly going to hit Shadow there. You can see my hand goes up. That's just me apologising. I do that automatically, by the way. It's just one of those things where I put my hand up straight away. But even so, we catch up to Shadow once again here. And we're going to the left-hander. And the Bugatti Veyron isn't that disadvantaged here versus other cars in terms of turning as well. It's a really strong car here. And it's one I'd recommend using if you are lower down in the DRs to overtake people, because that's where you're going to mainly overtake them in a straight line here at Watkins Glen short circuit. Here we go then, down towards the right-hand side here. I'm not worried about the exit either in this slipstream because this Veyron is so quick. Let me show you. So into the right we go then. We're going to continue on through here. Got to leave some room on the exit there for Shadow in the Aston Martin. But watch this. Watch the pull of this car. It just pulls for days. There we go. We're clean on past that Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Can it catch up to me? So it's in the slipstream right now. It's not catching. It's not catching at all. I have no slipstream right now. It's not catching. Okay, it's starting to match me now just. But we're getting towards the end of the straight here. And yeah, you can't really send it at that point. So yeah, pick the Veyron. Honestly, you may see the Alpha up at the top of the leaderboards now. It wasn't at the time. I still don't think that'll be the car for the race, but I could be wrong. I'm just saying at the moment, I would pick the Veyron irrespective, and I may do that for another video. Our very big boss goes off the circuit there. That's going to have very dirty tyres on that Genesis. I wasn't sure with the Genesis choice. A lot of people picked it. I can't remember if last time the Genesis was a strong car here. I have a feeling it was. but it's not so good anymore, if I'm brutally honest with you. Got a 1 second penalty for that venture off doing rallycross, and P2 actually had a penalty there, and they've taken that, so they go down the inside here. But with dirty tyres, there was only one outcome. I expected it as well. They went way off the circuit. Now they're going to come back on here. I have to keep in mind they have dirty tyres, so they're going to go deep here, and I wanted to get on the inside here and pull past them, and there we go. That's how I do that. Notice how I prepped the move there. I knew exactly what was going to happen, prepped it accordingly, went slightly slower in the last corner to get the pull on the exit. Lap number 9 then, and we've caught up to P2. Now, I haven't raced P2 too much before. I don't really recognise the name. So I thought, you know what? Rather than getting into a battle here, I'm going to come in the pits, and hopefully I can come out in some free air and maybe be on for the victory. We're only 3.5 seconds off the leader at the time. We come into the pits then, and what we're going to do... We're going to do absolutely nothing. We're not changing tyres. We're not refilling the Bugatti Veyron. Apparently, it's not a thirsty drinker in Gran Turismo. We know it is in real life, though. As we leave the pits, then we've got a couple of cars going past us here. We've got Danny and Lewis, and they've been going at it with fastest laps here, and we've only come out just behind them, so we'll see what happens here in terms of the race as we advance with Ron then. So going into here then, Christian, just a bit slow on the apex there then, slowed me down a little bit here. We've actually lost half a second to the leader due to this. Then as we go into the right hand, that's another bit of time lost then. Go dropping another 2 tenths there. So we need to get by Christian very quickly, and that's what I'm going to try and do here. We go towards the right hand side of that Toyota Supra. Shelty's in the pits then. Shelty was in the Scirocco there. You can see that on the right hand side. As we go in towards turn 1 though, we get past Christian. Through we go. Now you might go, Tidge, why don't you just wait until after turn 1? In the Veyron, you want to get past very quickly because you'll just boot it. A lap later then, we catch up to Lewis here, and look at the speed difference between this Bugatti and Genesis. Lewis goes towards the right-hand side to sort of say, no, don't go for the overtake. It goes back to the racing line then, and we stay behind for now as we go into the left-hander. Just keeping it nice and steady here because we have gained back on the leader. We're only 20.4 seconds behind. It did go down to 21.2 at one point, so we are regaining some of that time that we did lose then. As we get on the exit here then, we're catching up to Lewis once again. Oh, we got a... Oh, please don't crash me with another penalty. They're full of penalties today, aren't they? As we go into the left-hander then. And we're getting even closer to Lewis. That gap coming down to leader still here. So we're maybe on for the win here, potentially. We've got to get past these two, though. Lewis with all sorts of oats in the last corner. Clipping the grass, very common here on that entrance to the last turn. You've got to be careful. Indicator on then, so I go towards the right-hand side. I was going to go for this anyway. We get the fastest lap as well as we head in towards turn number 1. I couldn't move over to the left quick enough here, so it does compromise my entry, which also compromises Lewis, unfortunately. And that brings Please Don't Crash Me into the fray then. I'm going to have to leave a little bit of space there on the right-hand side, just in case they did have the overlap. Remember, ping distance is a factor here. And we're going to try and get on by now. I was a bit frustrated with this one, if I'm honest, only because I wanted to get ahead here. I wanted to gain time, and I was losing time here to somebody who hasn't been in the pits yet. And I know they haven't been in the pits yet because, remember, I overtook them ages ago as well. So coming into here, I really needed to make sure I got past. There we go, I did. They're entitled to race. They can race who they want. You know, I know that. But from my personal perspective, I've lost a lot of time. And look at that gap to leader, back up to 21.2. I've lost a second there with that fighting, which is a bit frustrating, and my mistake at turn 1, of course. We jump to the final lap then as we go through turn 1, and up ahead, P13 Black's coming out the pits right now then. 2 seconds ahead of me, and if we think about it, I lost 2 seconds with all the fighting, and the penalty as well cost me time. There's a chance there we could have won this. Unfortunately, we haven't. Danny wins. Congratulations to you. P13 Black, P2. But I do get a podium. And it shows you the Veyron is a very strong car here. Highly recommend you do use this car. Now, in terms of rating, start type, I've given a 0.5. Car and tyre choice, 0.5 as well. I feel like the mediums would have presented more strategy there. You can have some good racing, though. There are no penalty issues here. And the race length isn't quite there, but the randomness is. So 0.5 there. 9 overall in terms of score. Brake balance down the right-hand side. And at first turn then, on the left-hand side, the Armco, it goes from... Well, it goes slightly smaller. You can see that right there. That's my brake marker. It's between the 300 and the 200. You can see it there on Chase as well. Brake in a straight line. Now, I recommend you turn in slightly later than normal here because you want to just get the car rotated, and that's what I do right there. Be careful on the exit because track limits are in play here. Remember, they are brutal as well with the penalties. I'm just on the red and yellow curbing, or red and orange, however you see it here. I'm just on it, so I'm fine. Some cars will not be just on it, and your camera will deceive you a little bit depending on the car you're in. If you're in a slightly smaller car, you can't go quite as wide as I look like I am there, just because of the way the car's width is in the Veyron. It's a wide car. Now, in towards the chicane we go. It's a 300 board or the Marshall box. It depends on what car you're in. In the Veyron, I'm carrying so much more speed. I do have to brake that a little bit earlier. In the Alpha, you can brake a little bit later. Again, it depends what car you want to choose here. So I'm using a 300 board here. It may be worthwhile doing that. I'm trying to keep it nice and steady through here. I drop to 4th gear and I continue on through. Now, over towards the right-hand side, the start of the curb here is your either let-off marker Or as you can see here, I just dabbed the brakes a little bit in the Veyron. In the Alpha, I suspect you can just lift off here because it's an MR car. It rotates very nicely. A lift off is probably absolutely fine. But as we go into here then, you can see it on chase cam. We're just going to let the car roll through the corner. Just trying to slow it down. Keep a nice tight line if you can. And we're looking for the I Love New York Marshall box. I speak about this one all the time. I'm trying to accelerate as early as possible. So when I see that, I start to think about the accelerator and really putting it down. The later you leave it, the slower you'll go, of course, but the earlier you do it, the more chance of understeering off and getting that penalty. So you have to weigh up the risks. As you can see there, I could have done it earlier because I had more track to use. Heading down towards the next corner then, we can breathe a little bit here. And we've got a couple of markers we can use. They are basically the same thing though. The 200 board on the left-hand side is the one I use. If you want to brake a little bit later, use the one on the right as it hits the edge of your screen. You may want to do that in the Alpha. But I use the one on the left here in the Veyron. I find I could brake at the same point as the Alpha, if I'm brutally honest with you, when I was chasing the Ghost at the time. So that's what I'm going to do here. I chuck it in, I click the curb, or want to click the curb on the inside. You can run out wide here, but you've got to get over to the left as quick as possible. Your final markers here, the tyre wall into Armco. That's the one I use. You can use the billboard if you want to brake as late as possible. Now, you want a wider line into this corner initially, okay? Turning in too early will really impact the exit. I found I was turning in too early initially, so I wait a little bit here, then turn in, clip the curb. Once I clip the curb, I know I can make it through the corner. I accelerate out, be careful off the wall, and we head towards the line, and that is a 13.8, I think? Yeah, a Veyron can get a 0.6 or 0.5 here, no problems. Which is why it's the car for the race. Look at this. MR cars here don't work on the oval on the inside. As you see, Sonic went for a spin and a half there. Look at this for a massive crash. And literally, the rear just went on him there as he touched the oval on the weight transfer. Let's look at it from Shelty's perspective, though, who's sitting a bit further back here. Look at the carnage up ahead and the ghosting system working well for Shelty. And managed to get through all that. Unfortunately, Max Power gets a 5-second penalty with a slight tag that happened in all of that. And Max Power was the one that got tagged. This is my dive, and just showing you how clean it is. Look at that, beautiful stuff. Robert Max saw me at the last second, and that's why they veered to the right there. There was definitely no contact. So we're going to look at it from Hodgson's perspective then. This instant, please don't crash me, is involved in this one as well as we go into the left-hander. Slight contact between the two. They're now going to be 3 wide here, and oh, please don't crash me. I think loses the rear end a little bit there. What we will do is jump on it from their perspective then. Here we go. So they're in the AMG GT as we go through here on throttle, so spinning the wheels up. So those tyres are overheated now. Remember, there are tyre temps in this game. I am looking at that at the moment. I'm doing some testing. So as we go into this left-hander, it's a slight contact there that is on them. But yeah, they're struggling with oversteer there. So they've gone to correct something and unfortunately pushed Hodgson off. You should wait at this point, not now, but when in a safe place to do so. But as we go into here, they get a slight tag from Lemony Send It. Foot to the floor, wheel spin, and they're going to go off the circuit. So that's what happened to them then. We go to, oh, it's the same people again. It's Hodgson and Please Don't Crash Me. So into the left we go. They absolutely send it there, getting it all sorts of wrong. So they've got dirty tyres. They come back on here, taking the racing line. Oh, Hodgson just clips the left rear there on the grass. Very common mistake to happen. We saw Lewis do that in the race as well. But yeah, that's unfortunate indeed. Do donuts as well at the end, and you need to run off to that like button and subscribe button if you have enjoyed this video. If you've watched it all the way through, surely you have. So make sure you do hit those buttons as well. It does tell me you do enjoy the content. A big thank you for all the support lately. There will be more specials coming soon. Just keep an eye out for them. They are going to be delayed in parts as well because we are growing so crazily. Do check out 2 videos there and the partners down below in the description. Thank you as always, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.